Oh, thank you.
Okay, so this is the first episode of season 3. Before we get started into like whatever we're gonna talk about, before I introduce the guest, first I just want to say it took, like you said, 25. It took us 25 years, pretty much, and then some, to finally record an episode because
Yeah.
we've been. I procrastinate. Y'all know, y'all know that, and you know,
Life was life, and that's what was going on.
there we go. Life was lifing, but I just knew it. I was like, it's gonna happen at the right time. It's gonna happen at the
Absolutely.
right time because Raven, you were originally gonna be the season finale of season 2,
Oh
but
man. Okay.
now, remember I told you I was like, you know what? You gonna be season premiere.
Yup.
Yeah, I
Nope.
told you. Yo episode's gonna come out next Friday. Whenever next Friday is from. So we're recording this June 2nd right now. So next Friday is June
hmm
9th. Is the start of season
Okay.
3. Yo, episode's gonna be. I told you. I kept my promise. I
Yay!
was like,
You called it. You called
yeah.
it.
I was like, I'm not releasing any episodes. Because I was like, Raven's gonna be episode 1.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. So now that we got that funny stuff out the way, because we was gonna get it. It was like it
Oh
was three
yeah.
months in the making, 3 months
Oh
where
yeah.
life is just lifing, but here we are, June 2nd.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Exactly. Um. Okay. So before we figure out what topics we're even gonna talk about, because we're gonna figure
hmm
that out on here.
Of
Uh,
course.
Raven, let me introduce. Well, let me let you introduce you to Raven. Nice to have you on.
Yeah.
This is your
Yeah.
first time being a special guest on this podcast. Tell us a little bit
Yes.
about you, Raven. Let's get to know Raven.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. Thank you so much for having me. So I am a content creator on Instagram. I'm getting my
Yes.
feet wet in TikTok. I don't haven't quite figured out the streets over there, but we're gonna get it together.
Yeah.
It's particularly by trade, if you want to say that I am a relationship coach. So I just graduated with a master's in psychology. I am. Thank you for the
Period.
flowers. I definitely have the drive to help people not only navigate their romantic relationships, but a lot of people forget that you have a relationship with God, with yourself,
Yeah,
with
that's
other
important.
people.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm a relationship coach," and they just focus on romanticism. I'm just like, no, I'm also focusing on your relationship with you. How do you talk to yourself? If you're
Right.
trying to strengthen your relationship with God, maybe a
Right.
relationship with your mom, siblings, coworker,
Right.
best
Just
friend.
relationship as a whole. Yeah,
Exactly,
not exclusive
exactly,
to just one aspect of relationship.
exactly,
That's
exactly.
awesome.
And then what else? I have a couple other things brewing that I'm not talking about yet, but those are the two main things, really just content
Yeah.
creation and relationship coach.
So tell us a little bit about what your content is on Instagram, which will be in the episode description below, folks. Um,
Thank you for the
um,
plug. Thank you.
yes. So tell us about your Instagram content, and if your TikTok content's the same, tell us about both, or if they're
Mhm.
different, tell us, individually which one.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so
tell
for
us.
Instagram, I am geared more toward the faith-based lifestyle
Sorry, say that
wellness.
again.
I am definitely on Instagram. I am geared more toward faith-based, so Christianity,
Hmm.
faith-based content, lifestyle, um, definitely a wellness, so not just your physical health, but also your mental health. TikTok will probably be the same, just maybe a little
Hmm.
bit more raw.
Right.
Not so much with the makeup and not so much with the aesthetic. Just like I'm driving in my car and I got a message for you guys. So I'm gonna hop on and make a video, like
Those be
that
the
kind
best
of vibe.
videos.
They are, aren't
They are
they?
the
They
best
are.
videos.
They
You know,
absolutely are.
not to mention that, your Instagram page, it definitely fits the theme of vulnerability
Oh
because
yeah.
I remember like one of my friends, Destiny, if you're listening, hello. She follows you on Instagram. She has a lot of great things to say about you. And
Oh wow, thank you.
yeah, and so that's when I checked out your page, And I also, it's funny because I also saw your page recently. Sorry, I'm on my bed right now, so if my
Oh,
laptop's
you're
going all
good.
over the place. I
You're
saw
fine.
your page like a little bit before then. I was like
Hmm.
scrolling through just random reels,
Hmm.
and I remember I had liked your reel, and I don't remember
Yeah.
specifically what it said, but I remember how I felt, and I remember I needed to hear it. And then
Wow.
once Destiny told me about you, I went back on your page and I was like, oh my gosh, I've seen her before. And so
Hmm.
I went on your page, and when you had spoke about when you were vulnerable about, can I say the S word?
Yeah, go for it. You're
Oh,
fine.
okay.
You're
When
good.
you were vulnerable about like suicide, I was like, and you're like of faith, and I was just like, I'm so
Hmm.
glad that you know honesty and
Oh
realness
yeah.
is out there. That just because you know you have faith, that doesn't negate the fact that you know things still don't happen mentally. And
Exactly.
right, and it's just like it's not a sign that you know you're away from God or any less closer to him, because I know a lot of people
Oh yeah.
have came at me with that, and I'm just like, that's
Hmm.
not that's not everybody's story. You can't like just generalize, oh, because they're not close to God, that's why they're going through this. And I'm like,
Absolutely
if
not.
we look at Moses, Job, Elijah, Hannah, Rebecca, Sarah, David,
All of them.
uh, Jonah, they were suicidal. It says it.
You better preach,
Right. So
sir.
I'm
Come
just
on.
right. So I'm like, and I got the
Absolutely.
scriptures to prove it. I be waiting.
I
No one has
wait.
done this yet, but I be waiting to throw out. I be like, please debate
I
me on
got
it,
him.
because I was just like,
I'm ready. You came prepared.
yes, because I'm so tired of hearing, oh, and when I say like people debate me about this, I mainly mean like, I only mean like, I don't. It's vulnerability time. I'll just be honest. Mainly male Christians, because that's who I've heard a lot of. Oh, basically that because I'm struggling with this, that is a sign
Hmm.
that I'm doing something wrong, and or I'm not close to God, or I'm not praying enough, or I'm
Hmm.
not doing this enough, or I'm not enough in some way, shape, or
In some
form.
way.
Right.
Right.
So I just be ready. I have my notes section. I be ready. I'm like, oh, I was like,
As he shows me and scrolls, I'm here for
right.
it. I'm here for it.
I
I'm
was like,
here for
let's
it.
go to Job. Let's go to Elijah. Oh, you didn't know that?
You didn't
I'm
know about him?
Jewish.
Oh yeah.
Right.
There's somebody for everybody in the Bible, if that makes sense. There's somebody
Right.
who wasn't confident in themselves, someone who didn't necessarily think they were physically attractive, there's someone who stuttered, there's someone who didn't think that they were worth it, there's someone who was an alcoholic and a sinner and a adulterer and a murderer and a tax collector and a thief, and
Yeah.
the list goes on and on and on, and there's somebody for everybody in the Bible. And I
Right.
think in relation to what you were talking about men, I think men have a double portion, if you will, because most men are brought up don't feel your emotions, don't express your emotions. So that's that aspect of it, but also um, suicide is probably one of the least talked about in depth and probably most scared topics to talk about because people are like, oh, I don't want to. That's something you don't really know what you can say, what you can't say.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
and a lot of men just aren't equipped with the proper tools and the proper vocabulary or expressions of how they need to express, hey, I'm struggling.
Right.
Because
Right.
nobody just wakes up one day and says, hey, I want to die. Nobody. It's a
Right.
progression. And that's another thing. A lot of guys aren't necessarily able to say, okay, I'm struggling. And then 6 months from now they're contemplating, they're having ideations, they're thinking about it and they're planning it, all of that. But
Hmm.
girls are more so about to cry, express how you feel, go talk to
Right.
someone. Even the strong Black woman, we can go talk to our friend. We got somebody. At
Right.
some point, we had one person at least that we can go talk to.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's probably like the biggest thing when it comes to Black men. They have nowhere to go, and
Hmm.
that's sad.
Yeah, that and that's something that you had mentioned towards the end of that. Because I had a conversation yesterday. Um, it was with a person who they're the type of person where they say, oh well, women are just more emotional, and
Lies,
things shouldn't hurt
lies.
you. And you know what I told him? I'm so proud of myself. I gracefully was like, okay, well, humans have emotions, and we are humans
Period.
first before we are a certain gender or
Gender.
sex. We are humans
Yes.
first, and then I was like, are women more emotional, or are they just able to um, be strong enough to actually face um, their emotions rather than running from them? And then
Ooh.
and
Come on.
and then I like gave the segue of, on average, currently in America, 75% of suicides are men,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously I wasn't saying, and I made it clear that I wasn't like saying that that's all exclusive to men just hiding in their feelings.
Right,
Um,
right.
but it is a big
A
observation.
big
It is a
chunk.
big reality that, needs to be talked about
Absolutely.
because it's not being talked about. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I'm just like,
Absolutely.
I just think, I mean, I'm just like, yeah, maybe we all should be quote unquote too emotional. I was like, guess what? You're facing feelings rather than running from them, and I'm just like, psychologically speaking, running away will always catch up to you.
Absolutely. You can only
Yeah,
run so far away from your own mindset. Like, I don't
yeah,
think people really get that. Like, you can only run so far from how you think about you. You can
right,
run from what other people say about you. You can run from what mom said, dad said, anybody. But when it comes to you, you are the one who's keeping you up at 2 o'clock in the morning because you have these things about you, these
right.
thoughts about you. And I think people forget that. Like, we have these affirmations, we have these mantras, we have these manifestations, these things that we say to ourselves. But the
Hmm.
question truly becomes, do you believe what you're saying about yourself to yourself?
Right, right.
And then you add in the whole juncture of faith, and that is a complete other segment that has such a chokehold on a lot of us. I feel
Yeah.
like because we have this thing that, oh well, I have faith in Christ, or whatever you believe in. I have faith. I have faith. I have faith. Faith does not negate or take place of your mental health. You still
Right,
have a body and you still have a life to live down here. And just because you have faith in a higher power doesn't mean
right,
that you still don't have to worry about me living life and going through the trials and tribulations of life down here.
right,
Right. So that makes it hard to talk about because people will always say like you should have this and you should have this together. And no,
right.
no, you shouldn't. You are exactly where you are. And this is how you're feeling. It's much wiser to
Hmm.
just face whatever you need to face at
Right,
whatever pace you need to. Don't go too fast, don't go too slow, but
right,
face it. Don't run from it. It's gonna
right,
catch up every time.
right. Because I mean, there are just so many things I can think of where if you ignore it, that doesn't mean it's going anywhere necessarily,
Absolutely.
right?
Sometimes it gets bigger. That's the sad part.
Exactly.
Sometimes if you ignore something, especially when it comes to your emotional health, if you ignore it, it just gets bigger because you are
Hmm.
leaving it unaddressed.
Right.
It's like a wound. Like if you put a band-aid over something that needs surgery, then
Hmm.
it's just going to get worse and it's going to
It's
get
gonna get
infected and it's
infected.
going to spread and it just creates more and more issues down the line.
Yeah.
Whereas had you just taken care of it when you saw it was an issue, we wouldn't be here.
Right. And
So
it's like there's also that stigma with it, like you were mentioning, but it's just like, I remember I had told someone, and I was really proud of myself too. I'm gonna be honest, because it was just like the fact that I spoke up about it. I'm proud of myself. In
you
the
should
way that
be.
I spoke up about it, I'm proud of myself.
Yes,
I
yes.
probably spoke up gracefully because it was a female Christian, but if it was a
Hmm.
male Christian, I don't know. I think I would have had like attitude and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm working. I'm working. I'm healing.
Yes, yes, it's a process. It is a lifelong process. People think you hit a benchmark when it comes to healing, maybe about a certain thing, but healing is a you'll be 85 and still healing from something.
Right. Exactly.
Uh,
Because healing,
yeah,
healing, and a cure are two different things.
yes,
Um,
yes, and healing and growth, two different things too. So,
Oh, ooh, we got it. Yes. But I was saying, I was like, mental health is has so much stigma in the church, and there's not really that much of a want. There's a need, but there's not much of a want to
absolutely.
understand it because it's so, stigmatized, and a lot of people just don't know that much about it. But I'm
Hmm.
like, um, I was like, we're telling someone, oh, don't get medicine, you just gotta pray about it. But I'm
Right.
like, but when that person has depression or something, but I'm like, but when they have cancer, something that's not stigmatized, I was like,
Right.
okay, we're saying you pray about it, but you also get you some medicine. We need you to find the right
Mm,
doctor. You know what I mean? I was
yep.
just like,
Hmm.
one is
So I think
more accepted than the society. It's just culturally acceptable, depending on what culture that you're in
yes,
that
yes,
moment.
absolutely. I also feel
Yes.
like people have gotten used to ailments of the body, right? We can see it,
Hmm.
or it's something that we have a cure for to a degree. Um, Ailments of the body are expected. As you get older, you expect things to start to break down. Maybe if you didn't eat as healthily as you could, you expect things to come. But when it comes to illnesses of the mind, a lot of people are just like, I don't know what to do with that. There's
Right.
so much um, untapped, I don't know, information when it
Yeah.
comes to how our brains work.
Right.
Why certain people deal with certain things, other people don't. Why we process things differently.
Right.
And I think that when someone says, "Oh, I have depression," or "I have schizophrenia," or "I have bipolar disorder," or whatever your diagnosis is, it's like, "Oh, well, you're crazy." No, just like you
Right.
have diabetes and so and so over there got high blood pressure, it's just an illness, and I'm doing what I need to do to take care of it. Just like you need to stop eating all the sugar and you need to stop eating all the salt. It's really
Right.
it's really just it's a full picture.
Right.
I think one of the first instances of that was when military vets came back and they had PTSD. Nobody
Yeah.
knew what to do with that.
Right.
Because what do you do with that? How do you explain to someone, oh, every time so and so hears this word or here's a gunshot or here's whatever triggers them to take them back to wartime,
Right.
they literally in their mind get transported back to wartime and they are
Right.
back in war.
Right.
Like how does that doesn't make sense
Right.
logically?
Right.
But that is that person's experience, and you
Right.
can't tell them they're not experiencing it. And that is the beauty of mental health. It is subjective to every individual,
Yeah.
and it's up to us individually to take care of that. If it's something that is disrupting our peace, is taking us off course, is triggering us in some type of way.
Right.
So yeah, I think
Exactly.
it's huge.
Cause like the complexity of how the brain is and how especially like how complex a situation is and how complex a person who experienced the same situation as everyone else but experienced it
Yes.
differently.
Hmm.
It's like logic, ration, you know,
It's
that's
not
where
there.
it
It's not a
begins to be
thing.
complex because it's like we can't depend on solely logic or ration when it comes to
Right.
complexity. When we're talking
Right.
about a human being. So, I mean,
Hmm.
that's pretty much what you said, or and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
loving it. I'm loving it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This is why
I
you're
love it.
episode 1. Okay? It's just like,
Yes. We're gonna
um,
come out the gate strong.
yes. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the topic. So while I look at the topic slash discussion points that me and
Hmm.
Queen Raven were looking at, I was like, Raven, let us just discuss, like, let us like figure out what we're gonna talk about on the episode. So here are the
Okay.
six, or the here are the and we're gonna narrow it down, and then we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about it. There we go. But I think it's cool. Okay, because I wanted this really vulnerable, guys, really authentic, and free form and stuff. Okay, so recognizing mental health in your faith journey was one of them.
Okay.
What is God or a higher power to you? The other one was how to navigate difficulties in relationships slash friendships. The other one
Mm.
was you got to grow through in order to get through. The other one was I should not know. Period. Um, oops, sorry, I'm up here burping. I am so
You're
sorry. I
good.
hope y'all
You're
didn't hear
fine.
that. Forgiving the time you've lost. Oof, yes. Okay, to trust or not to trust your feelings. Testimony
Mm.
time. The right decision versus the best decision. And people
Okay.
want you until they have you.
Oh
What is up
Lord.
with that? I went through
Oh
that yesterday.
Lord.
I'm just like,
Man.
what is up with that?
People. Ooh.
What is
I
up with
think that's
that?
gonna be one because that one set something off. I think that's gonna be one. People
That
want
is
you
gonna be
until
the
they
one.
have you. That's
Okay,
a huge one. Yes.
okay. So with that being said, folks, today's discussion point will be people want you until they have you.
Yup.
Raven, and I know I've been seeing some of your journey on the Instagram
Hmm.
story. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm just like looking at that topic, and I was like,
Man.
I think that's gonna be the one too.
Mhm. And
Listen,
I was just talking about that yesterday on my story, so this is quite timely.
do you want to know something funny?
What?
I was talking about that this morning too. I was like, because I dealt with something
See,
like that yesterday, and I was like, I just don't get it. Like,
they
I'm
don't
just,
either. That's the problem.
yeah, yeah.
They
Oh,
don't
we're
get it
having too
either
much fun. I'm having too much fun.
already.
I'm laughing because I'm in pain. I mean, I'm laughing in pain because I got my abs stimulator on right now, and
Oh, oh yeah.
it can simulate pregnancy if you put it on the high.
Oh,
By the way, that's pretty cool. But I
oh.
want you to know, like, if you see me like kind of like squinch a little bit, it's because I'm in pain. I'm in
Okay,
terrible pain,
okay. Thank you
bilious
for letting me
pain.
know because I would stop and be like, what? You good? What's going on?
Yeah, I got this pack on, you know. Um, okay, so people want you until they have you.
Yeah.
Raven, why? How does that and why does that resonate?
Well, see, this look you give me right now is about to send me. Okay, so I, so for me personally, I think the the phrase, let's just start there. The phrase of people want you until they have you has been a truth that I've experienced across romantic relationships, friendships, um, and it's just true. A lot of people, I think, for me personally, have liked the idea of me. Um, whether that is diminished down to what I do, or what they've seen me do, or what they've heard me do, or how they heard I operate, or how they heard I think, or how they heard I move. And then when they get me, it's like, oh, you're too much. Or you
Right,
make this too big of a deal. Or your standards are too high.
right,
Or just wait, I'm getting there. Like, no, no. When I came here, it was supposed to be a certain way.
right.
Um, and so I think for me, it resonated with me so much because that has been my life when it came to relationships. This only happens in relationships. When you come into it knowing it's a surface level superficial type of interaction, okay, this is not going anywhere. They're not supposed to really want all of you. You come in and you give a certain part of you, but when you come in thinking, okay, we're going to build a genuine friendship, or this is going to be my person, someone that I'm going to partner with and spend the rest of my life with, or at least work toward that, you come in thinking and hoping, all right, I know they got this image of me, but they gonna be cool with all of me too,
Right,
and they're going to cherish and value all of me as well.
right,
And most times, honestly, I feel as though a lot of times people don't. Not only do they not do that, but they don't know how.
right.
So, so yeah, I think I'll start there.
Well, that's what blows my mind, because I know a lot of people, and I'm not bashing anyone because I used to be this um, person as well a long time ago.
Hmm.
However, I can say, though now I'm not in that area anymore, and I haven't been in that area for a long time, I can say like I have seen it consistently,
Hmm.
because I mean that's just gonna happen when you run into people, and
Absolutely.
it's frustrating me because it's like I don't like you could be everything that this person wants and needs, you know, but
Man.
once they get
Okay.
yeah, I know I know that face. I know I know that face.
I wish they could see me. I look a little. I'm real relaxed right now. I don't have on no makeup. I'm very comfortable right now. I'm so glad he ain't posting this, like a video version because, baby, listen, I just wish I could have saw my face though, because the fact that you just said that, like, you can be everything that the other person is wanting and says they're looking for all of that stuff, and they still don't get it, still don't put two and two together, still don't um really show up authentically, in that effective communication, whatever that thing is that you're needing from that person. And so I just that was literally my last relationship, my last romantic relationship particularly. That was
Hmm.
like point blank period. You're everything I've ever wanted, like giving me the whole rundown. And then it was like, but you still can't. So it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I had to come to that point because a lot of times we hear what people are saying, and they're saying, "Oh, you're everything I've ever wanted." Well, if I'm everything you ever wanted, then you do what it takes to keep the person that you said is everything you've ever wanted. I'm not
Right.
asking you to do anything crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think then you have to begin to learn how to, um, I guess, read into what people are not saying, hear what they are not saying, what they're trying so desperately not to say,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which for every person, it can be something totally different.
Right.
For some people, that's the way that they passively communicate. Instead of saying, "Hey, I think you're great, but you're not everything I want," they will tell you the exact opposite.
Mm.
For some people, it is I see that this is everything I want, or this person has everything I want, whether it's qualities or whatever they're looking for. Um, and because of their trauma, because of their baggage, because of their emotional state, they may not be able to trust themselves or you.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all know, if you can't trust yourself, good luck trusting somebody else. You
Right.
can't, because you don't even know what it feels like to trust you inside of you. So how will you know how to like really be able to recognize and trust somebody else?
Right.
Um, so that whew, I have been there, and it is. I'll almost venture to say it's manipulative because to those of us who really care about the relationships, those of us who have our own stuff. Because so for me personally, I'll speak from my own experience. I have a thing with leaving people. I don't like just leaving people. I want to do everything I can to make it work. I am a giver by not only nature as a woman. Um, I also know that I am a wife. Like I know I want to be a wife, and I'm already that. I'm just making myself better and waiting for my husband to come along.
Mm-hmm.
Then you add on, I have spiritual gifts. One of them is hospitality. I will give you my last and then figure out how I'm gonna eat myself. That's just how I am.
Right.
And so when it comes to guys or when it comes to people in general, but particularly in the area of our hearts, so romance, um, I it was manipulative, and it can be for people that are like me. Because then when the person says, "Oh, you're everything I want," but it's an invitation for you to keep trying and for
Mm-hmm.
you to figure out that
Mm-hmm.
thing that's wrong with you when there is nothing wrong with you. That's why I want people to understand there is nothing wrong with you. But it's an invitation for you to try to figure out what that thing is. And in the process, you are losing yourself. You are not only devaluing yourself, but allowing them to do the same. Um, you are teaching them how low they can treat you. You're also just allowing subpar activity. Um, as far as how they're treating you, you're lowering your standards. You're compromising. You are settling. Um, and once you come to, like I did, and figure out, okay, this is not it, and you leave the way I left, you have to untangle yourself from all of that because now, because you become connected to this person, your thought process is like theirs. So
Mm.
you have to reaffirm yourself, if that makes sense. And so when
Right.
you find that invitation to come and continually find that thing and find what's wrong with you and find that thing that's going to make them happy, you are making yourself small. That's what we mean when we say you're dimming your light for somebody else so they can feel good. That is a prime example of it. So, so yeah.
You know, that reminded me of how you could be the right package at the wrong address.
Woo!
And
Let me tell you something,
right. Oh, we got into it.
baby,
Fun. Oh my gosh.
baby.
We could have had this over
Right
some
package,
coffee.
man.
We could
It's like y'all ain't even here. Like I know y'all listening, but I forgot. Like it's just me and Josiah at this point. Like there's nobody else in this conversation. I'm so glad y'all listening though. Like right package, wrong address. Wow.
yeah.
That is, I don't think I've ever heard anybody put it that way. But when you put it that way, it was like, yeah, that's right. Because people always say, right person, wrong time. I
Hmm.
don't think I believe that all the way. I say
Right.
that,
Yeah.
I say that because
Same. Yeah.
I have seen people who are um, like dedicated and committed to being in one particular stage of their lives, and someone walks into their lives and they realize, oh my gosh, he or she's the one, or he or she is my best friend. I've met my best friend, whatever that relationship slot is, and they get their stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overnight. It is not, Rome wasn't built in a day, so it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not a constant, oh, wait, like just wait, let me get it together. And then you see no active change. So I do believe in right package, wrong address.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to when I was saying there is nothing wrong with you.
Right.
A lot of people project and deflect and don't even know that they're doing it. And so when you start to feel like there's something wrong with you, think about that. Like, really look at the fact that, okay, like, there's a strong possibility that this person is not talking about me, but they're talking about themselves and trying to project it on me to make themselves feel better
Yeah.
about themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to not take things so personally.
Right.
Because a lot of people aren't even talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
You think they are. They're talking
Right.
about themselves.
Right.
And they're talking to you from their vantage point, which is only how they look at themselves.
Right. Right. Their words,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like a filter from themselves, from their insecurities, from their fears.
Yes.
And like you said,
Absolutely.
like a lot of things, just in general, like a lot of things humans do are projection. Like,
Hmm.
um, like I was saying yesterday, 2 days ago, in a bonus episode that I spontaneously recorded when I was spending time with the Holy Spirit. I was like, some people love to the capacity that they love themselves. Some people understand others to the capacity that they understand themselves. You know what I
Come
mean?
on now.
And obviously that's not saying everybody, but it is saying there is a reality and an observation that
Yes.
that is a reality for, a lot of people. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. That actually, what you're talking about reminds me of a passage in the Bible where the disciples are with Jesus and saying, listen, okay, so I know we got the Ten Commandments. I'm paraphrasing. For all of my PKs out there that know this story, I am paraphrasing, okay? Y'all ain't finna come for me. Because I'm a PK too. So I'm
Same.
paraphrasing. But there is a passage in the Bible where the disciples are saying, listen, Lord, we know you got the Ten Commandments, but that's a lot. Which one of these, what's the most important one? And Jesus says, he says, listen, the first one is to love the Lord God with all of your heart, mind, soul, all of you, every part of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
That's
second one is
facts.
to love your neighbor as you love yourself. I would say that based on what you just said, there's a reality for everyone. Nobody can love the next person more than they love themselves. That's why it said love your neighbor as yourself. You have
Yes,
to love
that's
you
I
first.
was thinking
You
about
have
that
to love you
too.
first. Yes, you have to
Yes.
understand you first. You got to empathize with you first. You have to discipline you first. You have
Right.
to correct you first. All of those things. Put
Mm-hmm.
any
Mm-hmm.
words you want to put there. You got to do it to you first, so you actually know what it is, and then you
Mm-hmm.
actually know what it feels like and
Mm-hmm.
what it looks like and what the
Mm-hmm.
change and transformation actually looks like to be able to go give it to someone else.
Right.
You can't give something you don't have.
Right.
People
Right.
forget that.
Right.
Like you really cannot give
Right.
what you
You
do
have
not
to have
have.
had it in order to give it. You can't. Right. You say like literally. You
Yes,
can't. Like I can't give someone $1 million if I don't have $1 million in the first place. And I'm just like I just
exactly.
don't. I got $5. You want $5?
I can give you that. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I was like, you better go ask Jeff Bezos. I don't got 1 million. I was like,
Man, listen.
go ask Jeff Bezos or Elon. But yeah, no,
One of
like,
them, they got it.
but yeah, that just helps me, like, kind of like make a more understandable connection of, you can't give something that you don't have because it's just like that's a
Yeah,
literal thing. That's not just um, a metaphor,
yeah.
or a comparison. It's literally like, and I say this to help, like, because I've heard that statement before, but I never understood it, you know?
Hmm.
So because I mean, because I always thought that, like, like relationship wise, um, but then it's just like, yeah, like, I don't know, you just helped me see that, like, yeah, like, you literally can't give something that you don't have. You can't,
Yeah,
you, like that $1 million. You can't give a million
exactly.
dollars if you
You
don't have
can't
a million
give it.
dollars.
Or let's
Fine.
take something that's like less tangible. Let's take like love. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have it,
Mm-hmm.
you can't give it.
Right.
Let's take a little deeper. If you don't know what it is, like what a healthy love is, not the abusive, toxic struggle love. I'm talking about like that
Right.
healthy, good, like it almost gets boring because it's just healthy. Like
Right. Right.
that love, you cannot give it
Hmm.
or receive it. That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
It's almost transactional to that degree. Like you can't,
You were
if you
just
don't know what it
preaching
looks
over
like, you won't
here.
know.
I'm walking out. You were just preaching over here. What? I
I
told you
mean,
this
it is
episode was
though.
gonna
I
be
mean,
recorded at the right time. This is the
and
right
every
every
time.
time.
What do the old folks say? He may not come when you want him, but he always come on
He's
time. There,
yeah.
always
You
right
said
on
the
time.
old folks. That's
Every time.
exactly who says it too. That's, I don't see no one our age say
Uh-uh. I'm old, so I'm 25, but I'm pushing
shut
35.
up, I'm
So I mean, at
25
this point,
too.
stop it. Well, look
Shut
at the Lord. I'm
up.
here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But yeah, like the like love in particular, it is if you don't know how to receive it. So let's run it back. Actually, if you don't have it, if you don't know what it looks like, you won't know what real love looks like when it's coming to you. So you're
Right.
rejected.
Mm.
That's why a lot of times we on Instagram, TikTok, will see like um people who have healed will say, I had to get
Mm-hmm.
used to this new version of love, the healthier version of love, because
Yeah.
it almost got boring. I was waiting for something to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was waiting
I've been
for,
there.
the drama, the toxicity, the
Mm-hmm.
back and forth, the arguing,
Right.
the aggression, the abuse.
Right.
People always kind of associate abuse with physical. Sometimes they think about sexual and mental and emotional, but abuse literally just means abnormal use.
Mm-hmm. Oh, say that again.
Abuse means abnormal use. It isn't always some treacherous thing, and although it can be, abuse literally means I have told you this thing is hurting me, and you keep doing it,
Right.
or even just something as simple as you know this is wrong, you're gonna do it, or try to make me feel like I'm crazy because I'm calling you on what's wrong. Abuse.
Yeah. There goes that deflect. Yeah, when people. Yeah, that gets on my nerves. Because it's not like they don't know. Like you're clearly holding them accountable, telling them, and they're choosing. You know what I
It's
mean?
a
I'm just like,
choice.
okay,
It's a choice. Yes.
exactly. And I was like, now they're just choosing to, you know, abuse you, aka abnormal use. Now they're just,
Hmm.
choosing to, because it's not like you didn't communicate with them. Hey, this is hurting me. Two things that reminded me of.
Yeah.
Um, One, a lot of people are out there loving people, and I don't. This is what I think of when I think of that. Um,
Hmm.
because when I think about a lot of parents and how they like raise their children, or for example also like folks in church, an
Yeah.
example, both examples actually. um in their eyes they could genuinely be loving someone, but they don't, their definition of quote unquote love is not love,
Hmm.
and so it's like they're
Hmm.
quote unquote loving this other person, but they don't know that they're really harming this person,
Yeah.
and that's why I think, yes, pray and get your spiritual, because spiritual health is also important, just as mental
Absolutely.
health is, just, but I was like, folks, I think things need to be normalized ASAP, which is like working
Hmm.
on yourself, taking accountability,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
um, and healing and growth, and that's also something I want you to touch on a little bit after, is the difference between healing and growth.
Absolutely. Oh
Um,
yeah, I got you.
but yeah, so that's what the thing that kind of like, now that doesn't excuse the actions, you
Yeah.
know, at all, because like, now like when it comes to my parents, my father, he has no he has, I don't want to say no excuse, because it doesn't he has no excuse. Like the man's had a great childhood, okay, he was just an
Hmm.
awful person, because some people are just, there's
People
evil in
are,
this
and
world.
that's so hard. That.
Exactly. And then
Yep.
my mother, you know, I would say, no, she had both very loving parents. She had
Hmm.
two sets of parents, step and,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
all very loving to her, all
Okay.
very loving. Um, However, when it came to me and my brother, things were completely different. And in her eyes, a lot of things, were love. You know,
Hmm.
um, However, where it doesn't become necessarily understandable to me
Hmm.
is when I'm seeing how she loves my brother. I don't want to say better, but like that was the child. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Not my
You can
mental
tell there was
health.
like favoritism there.
Hmm.
You can tell there was favoritism there.
Oh, there was a lot of favoritism. There was only
Hmm.
favoritism. Like, I mean, yeah, and I mean, listening to season one, season two, everyone knows about all that. I don't feel like getting all into that. Well, I do feel like getting all into that, but like not really.
Yeah.
But long story short is, you know, um, there are some parts that people do that they think is love, but they don't really know. And I feel like a good way to know is to communicate to the person, hey,
Yes.
you're hurting me. You know,
Hmm.
this isn't love. This isn't, this is hurting me, and what can we do about it now? And if they just
Yeah.
continue to do it, I'm just like, well, darn. I was like, why you got to be that fine? Why you, just like why?
I almost started liking you. Why are you like this?
Right. And then the second thing is something that I was talking to Holy Spirit about. I think maybe like 3 days ago. Um, and I was saying how I was like, I done prayed for all these, for a good man to come along, and Holy Spirit's like, you know what? I did send them. They just had free will, and they chose fear
You better
over.
talk right.
And I'm
You better
like,
talk right.
right. And so I'm just like, people can miss out.
Ooh.
We can
Mm.
miss out on something so good, something that we know we need, something that we
Yes.
know we want. This person, though they're not perfect, but they're perfect for me. You know what I mean?
Come
Like,
on.
we
Yes.
could be attracted to them, but it's just like
Oh
because we're
man. Yeah.
afraid, we're afraid, so we we miss out.
Yeah. I think it's like when a little kid is trying something for the first time. They will cry until their eyes pop out of their sockets to not do it.
Hmm.
That starts as a little kid. So imagine we're grown and it's already been embedded over and over and over and over. And we as adults have gotten used to doing things
Wait, can
that
you
make us
re-say that?
comfortable.
No, no, I can
Yeah.
hear you. I just wanted a mic drop moment.
Oh,
I can, yeah, I can hear you. You said something. What started as a little kid?
oh, us being afraid and choosing the fear over the opportunity as a
Hmm.
little kid. That
Right,
started
survival
early.
mechanism.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Preserving our familiarity, preserving our comfortable state, our comfort zone. Oh, I think humans are just hardwired to
Wait.
just preserve their comfort zone. We're going to do what makes us comfortable.
Right.
And so by the time we become adults, it's been that has been embedded and reaffirmed and
Right.
just put into overdrive in our whole
Yeah.
being. And so by
Right.
the time we're adults, it's very hard to get us out of our comfort
Yeah.
zone.
Because there's
Um,
things that used to
yeah.
serve us back then, and then as we grow, whether that be physically or just in general, like with other aspects of life, certain
Hmm.
things no longer serve us anymore.
Yeah,
And fear in a lot of areas, especially when there's like a lot of trauma involved, or even honestly, even if, just
absolutely.
fear in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are some times in areas where fear will not serve us in that moment. Like
Hmm.
it served us
Yep.
in some areas back then. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Hmm.
does that
And
make
I also
sense?
think, yeah, that makes perfect sense. You actually made me think of two things. I was reading this book maybe before the pandemic started, and I don't know why this popped up because I haven't read the book since I've finished it, like 2019 maybe. Um,
Sorry.
and no, you're fine. One
You
of
you
the
picked it.
passages in the book essentially said,
Sorry, y'all.
essentially said, fear is not real. It's just a construct in your brain.
Say that again.
Fear is not real. It is just a construct in your brain.
Wow.
And I had to think about that. And every time I've stepped on the other side of my fear, it's always gotten better. It never got worse. Unless it was a rational fear, like, oh, this person is giving me bad vibes. Maybe I shouldn't go out with them.
Right.
Like, that fear is, listen to that fear, please. Please listen to that fear.
Right. Right. There's a
That's the
difference,
Holy Spirit in you
guys.
telling you. don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it. But that fear that says, I'm scared of what they're going to think. I'm scared that I'm going to fail. I'm scared that this is not going to work. If you're starting a business, I'm scared that they won't buy anything from me. I'm scared of whatever. Every time I have made the choice, and that goes back to those choices we were talking about, is an intentional choice. Every time I have made that choice to step over the fear and get to the other side of the fear, it has always gotten better. So
Mm,
fear is not real. It's not real.
right. Right.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of amazing things on the other side of fear, things that we need for a healing journey, things that we
absolutely.
want. You know what I mean? The person
Hmm.
of our dreams could be on the other side of fear.
Yes.
You know, like
And
all
can
the
I be vulnerable? Can I be vulnerable for like
be
2 seconds? Because you said
vulnerable.
that. When I broke up with my boyfriend, that was ex-boyfriend. He's not my boyfriend anymore. So ex-boyfriend.
Period.
I had
Period.
to correct that very quickly. When I broke up with him, I was so scared. And I say that because I had some characters before him, and he was the best one I had met in comparison to the rest of them. Not,
Right.
and that's the problem. I was
Hmm.
comparing him to them, not
Hmm.
necessarily. Do you feel safe with this person emotionally? Are they valuing you? Are they even where you need them to be as far as their emotional maturity?
Hmm.
Have they dealt with past relationship trauma, whatever
Right.
the things are? Um, but let me tell you, I was so scared because I was like,
Yeah.
what if I'm giving up too soon? What if I'm walking away from the best thing that's ever happened to me?
Right.
What if you have all these what ifs? What is it? Fear.
Yeah.
All of that is fear.
Hmm.
All of it is
Hmm.
fear. And the only thing that stimulates and makes the fear grow is for us to continue to ruminate or to continually think about um, the things that we don't know. Fear is only stemming from, oh, I don't know what's going to happen.
Mm.
That's it.
Let me write that down. Can you say that again? And we're gonna take a 3 second mic break.
Yeah. So fear is only stemming from what we do not know. That's it. The only reason you're scared is because you don't know.
Boom. I mean,
That's it.
sorry, I'm gonna. I accidentally deleted it. I gotta rewrite it again. Sorry, I'm like, fear is only stemming from.
Yup. Yup. That's the only place it's coming from.
That is, wow.
Yup.
Okay, see, okay, I'm trying to think like, should that be the title of the episode?
Oh.
Cause that's profound right there. That's boom. You know.
It is. I mean, even if you want to break it down, okay, boom. So, if when it comes to fear, every think about any time that you've been afraid to do something,
Yeah.
and particularly think about the times where you were scared to do something and you knew it was for your good and you knew you should have been doing it. And matter of fact, you probably should have done it a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
That fear, the only reason you're still there is because you're trying to hold on to what you know. So,
Mm.
what's on the other side of what you know, what you don't
Right.
know?
Right.
You don't know how you're going to move through it. But so for me personally, when I left him, I was like, what if I don't find nobody else?
Right.
What if, because I love hard. So what happens if because I gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave everything. And once I got it, I'm a giver. So once I empty out, I don't have nothing else to give you. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
out. And a big fear for me was, well, what happens if my guy does come and I can't receive him because I gave this Negro everything? Or what
Right.
happens if he gets what I'm talking about and then he heals and does all this wonderful stuff and then goes and gives the version of him that I knew was already there that I was hoping he would pull out of himself while we were together to somebody else.
Right.
Or what if he heals? There's all these what ifs. What if he heals and comes back and I don't want him no more?
Mm-hmm.
There's all these variations, and those are tactics of the enemy for all of my believers out there. They are tactics of the enemy to keep you somewhere you're not supposed to be. When God is calling you up, you need to move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And nobody ever once said you weren't going to be afraid.
Right.
Matter of fact, there are scriptures that address that,
Preach.
that pretty much tell you don't be afraid because I'm
Mm-hmm.
with you everywhere you go. And if
Mm-hmm.
you are, call on me.
Right.
there are that's why it's important to be in the word, because then when you start having
I just love the way you smile when you said that.
it is how do I say this? The word is, for me, it has been a saving grace
Mm-hmm.
to just put a pin in that. Like, it has been a saving grace. Like, that is one of the main things that brought me out of um dealing with suicide
Yeah.
so, like, fervently. It's not the only thing, because I went to therapy too. So I go to therapy.
Yes,
But
love therapy.
they are they go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, when it comes to fear, like, you have to readdress those things. And then also challenge yourself. If you notice everything I said was negative, what if this happens? Well, what if the guy of my dreams comes 6 months from now? What happens had I stayed with him and I ran across the dude God ordained for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm over here trying to make this work, and
Mm-hmm.
I see him walk right on by me because I stayed.
Right, right, right.
Turn your negative fears into possibilities.
Mm. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So fear is, I just got this now. So sometimes when I'm talking to people, God will just download stuff in me while I'm talking. I'm
Same.
like, wait, now? Right now?
That
Okay,
happened
cool.
twice during this conversation.
And I'm like, all right, as long as you give me the words, I'll say what you want me to say.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, fear is a possibility, is an opportunity to turn your negative cognition into a positive opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So just like it could be, um, what if I never find love again? What if you do?
Right.
What if I'm giving up too early? And what if you stay and you lose yourself completely?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You
Yeah.
have to learn how to prioritize different things. Is it Because at the end of the day, it becomes, how much are you willing to choose them and what might happen with them versus what you know might happen with you had you just focused on you and chosen yourself
Right.
and valued you, especially when you see that they're not valuing you or can't value you or won't value you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, and when you make that decision, the rest becomes it just becomes a matter of time, because
Right.
it's not like the last year and a half of my life didn't happen, so I still have to heal from all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because when you choose God the way I did to leave the relationship, um, He's faithful and He honors that. Um,
Yeah.
and He expedites the healing process. Not that it doesn't just happen overnight, but mine has been expedited, and now I'm at a point where it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
Lord, where you want me to go? Who do you want me to go? Um, to go interact with and to be with, as far as friendship, as far as romantic, whatever. And I'm just at the point where, like, it's me and you, Lord. Wherever you tell me to go, I'm going. Whatever you tell me to
Right.
do, I'm
Right.
doing. You know. So
Yeah.
so yeah, but fear is always an opportunity. It doesn't
And
have to be.
also something that you said, like going back a little bit,
Hmm.
when you're like, fear is what we don't know. And
Yeah.
Holy Spirit was telling me, that's a good point. What is the Holy Spirit's like? What is the best way to, when you don't know, to not know, what is the antidote to not knowing something? It's to know it. So it's just like,
Ooh,
there's
wee,
sometimes
that's good.
like, yeah,
That's
because
good.
like there's sometimes there's just like, you won't know until you know, and I rather,
Ooh, okay.
I
You
feel
just
like,
you just sparked something in me. Okay.
oh, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So you don't know until you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to. So, that Holy Spirit's funny. What is the antidote? I'm so he's hilarious. His sense of humor is out of this world. I'll be like, wow, all right, cool.
I'd be like,
So
we're playing. You childish. I love it.
right, I'm here for it. But it had to be right now. No, but um, the Holy Spirit says, okay, so what's the antidote to not knowing? One, you're not supposed to know. What if you're
Mm.
not supposed to? What if you're just supposed to trust what He told you to do? Because
Mm.
that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
That is how we're supposed to be operating. Lean
Mm.
not to your own understanding.
Wow.
All of those kinds of scriptures, those kinds of things. That's where that stuff. That's why you have that to pull on when you start. Well, God, I don't understand, and why did this, and why did this, and it doesn't make sense, and it was perfect, and that. Lean not. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. Those kinds of scriptures, those kinds of moments are when your faith is tested.
Mm.
Are you able to still do what he told you to do, even though it makes not a lick of sense to you? Are you
Mm.
able to keep going and do what he told you to do and to choose him and still do the right thing, even though you might really want to do the wrong thing?
Yeah,
That is the hardest thing.
that's
That is the
hard.
hardest thing.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the antidote to not knowing is to just is to focus on what you do know.
Mm-hmm.
What are you sure of?
Mm-hmm.
Because you focusing on what you don't know will just lead you down a spiral of you trying to figure out something that you might not be able to figure out. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're dealing with other people, you could never know them the way that you know you. So there will
Right.
always be something that you're just like, what about this? And what about that? There's always an unanswered question. As opposed to you can look inside of yourself enough to be like, okay, this is how I feel about this. This is what I know happened here. This is how I know it affected me, and go off what you know and go off what he told you. That is the antidote to the not knowing. And truth be told, you might never know, and you got to be okay with that.
Right.
Did you make the best decision for you? And if you can, all parties involved. But at the end of the day, did you do what God told you to do?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a believer, did you make the best decision for you?
Right. Right.
That's really That's really all it comes down to. Did you do it in a graceful way? You don't have to tear someone else down to get to where you need to be. But
Oh, say
did you
say that again.
you do not have to tear somebody down to get to where you need to be. There is a
Hmm.
graceful way to do everything.
Yeah.
There's an order to in everything that you can follow that still gets your point across and let them know very gracefully, hey, I ain't the one today, ain't the day, but God bless you, and I'm gonna go on about my way.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people don't know how to do that all the way.
Right. Right.
Some of us are passive, some of us are aggressive, some of us are passive aggressive, and some of us actually know how to be like, all right, cool, this isn't working for me anymore, and they will sever whatever version of the relationship that you guys had before.
Right.
So yeah, I think that sometimes we just don't get to know, and that is so frustrating for humans. We want to know everything. The
Right.
only one who knows everything is God, and we are not He, and we'll
Right.
never be. So I think that is probably the hugest thing there is sometimes you don't get to know. And
Right.
sometimes you get the revelation 5 years after and you think it's all said and done, and then God will bring it back. He'll spin the block on you and you'll get what you were asking for 5 years prior. So
Mm.
timing is everything, and just trusting him and doing what he told you to do.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
I just, I'm loving this. I'm just loving this. You
Same,
just laughing.
same.
I love it. No, but seriously, this is amazing. Okay, so here, hold on. Let me make sure. I mean, I know it's still recording, but just want to make sure. Oh, perfect. 57 minutes. That's perfect. That
This
is
is
perfect.
good.
That is great. Um,
Yeah.
I know we're running out of time here.
Yeah.
Um, Raven, we thank you for being on. The door's
Thank you
literally
for having me.
always the door is always open for you to come back on. In fact, if you want
On
to
my
come back on,
heart.
you let me
Thank you.
know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let me know. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and we'll take another 3.5 months to. We'll take a.
To get it together.
We'll take another 3.5 months, but you know it's gonna happen at the right. See, and guess what? It did happen at the right time, didn't it? It happened just in time for
Didn't
your
it?
circumstance, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Just at the
Every
right
time.
time. Every time. Look at him.
Yeah.
We knew it. We knew it too. It was like, gosh, it's gonna be at the right time. Um,
Yo.
yes. Okay. Well, Raven, let us know real quick. Just give us a little bit of reminder of. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously your Instagram will be in the episode description below, and whatever else you
Hmm.
want me to put in the episode description, any links or anything. Um,
Yeah.
but as a reminder, can you let us know again, like what your Instagram content contains?
Yeah. So my Instagram content is really around lifestyle, about the diaries and the learnings of 20 something, just loving Jesus and loving life out loud. You'll see me doing vlogs, cooking, self care, wellness, mental health. Sometimes I'll sit down and talk to you. Um, and really just creating community where women can come and be poured into, and creating a sisterhood where women can come and just be authentic, have that love and support.
Yeah.
And prayerfully, what I would love to do one day is have an actual conference where all of us can meet up and just talk in real life, and we can stop
Yeah.
being virtual friends. So
Right. Right.
so yeah, and also like I said, I am also a relationship coach. So if you are looking for this one-on-one about your particular relationship, you can book a session. I believe I will leave. Well, Josias will leave the link to that website to my booking site down below. So I'm looking forward to talking to all of y'all and follow me because I
Yes.
follow back.
Yes. Okay. We love you, Raven.
Love you
Folks,
too.
if no one has told you today that you are loved, please allow
Yes,
yourself to be the first and allow
yes, yes,
me and Raven to be the second. Folks,
yes.
you were
I love you
loved.
guys.
Yes. And folks, y'all have overcome 100% of your bad days. Why? Because you're still breathing.
Ooh,
Winning does not
sir.
always feel like winning. Winning is more action. And if winning today looks like you just got out of bed and brushed your teeth and went back to bed and cried, guess what? You won. You're still breathing. So, we love a good
Absolutely.
cry sesh also. But yes, I will see y'all next episode for whatever that will be. And I look forward to going through this season with y'all. I'm pretty sure we will see Raven back again.
I
And
hope so.
like she said, her information will be in the episode description below. Alrighty. Bye, folks.